Now this is the Pickering Hotel. Mr. and Ms. Pickering became very good friends of ours. We enjoyed them tremendously. In fact, Gay played the music for their daughter's wedding, and they got us into the country club there in Corner Brook, which made life sort of enjoyable, as it was in the largest log hut at that time in the world. And this is Gay and I coming out of it, or Gay rather, coming out of the country club. Now we're back at Stephenville Crossing at the lake, where it's iced over and the kids are all going skating. And they really did a lot of skating in the wintertime around that area. And this is where the pulpwood logs were floated down just in time in the fall of the year to freeze up so they could be picked up by clam and put on the railroad and shipped up to Corner Brook when the fall came around. It's a way to make a living, though, because pulpwood was one of the biggest industries in Newfoundland, after fishing, of course. Come from ice skating in the wintertime back to work on our Butler buildings in the salvage yard at Ernest Harmon Air Force Base in 1953, when we first started this project. That was where they were getting ready to pour concrete floor. Of course, you always have to have NCOs in charge. Quite a bit of leveling, smoothing of the ground, of course, had taken place here. We did have a little scrap left, which we tried to carefully keep piled up. Again, now we're having to use tents so that any like cement, when it rained or snowed, didn't get wet and ruined. That equipment was rather expensive, but we had to have it. Here we're building us an orderly room as well as a command post so we can operate out of it reasonably. I'm getting a report from a sergeant there. And we had to move some old buildings that had the space to make the salvage yard as well as road, so we didn't have enough money to buy new lumber, so we had to take out the nails and use them. Here we're starting to pour the footings and foundations on the Butlers, using 14-sack concrete mixers, as well as we did have access to the concrete plant that we could have enough money occasionally to buy 6 cubic yard truckload. Boy, we poured a lot of concrete that day. There goes our first Butler frame raised. Yes, it took a lot of water, a lot of crushed gravel and sand, and a lot of physical effort with those wheelbarrows. And I have not speeded up this 8mm movie. We made those guys work that rapidly. We had to. Here we are pushing this rock that we had hauled in from wherever I could find it to the 150-ton rock crusher down by Noel's Pond, as this is here, so we could get our aggregate as well as our sand to mix for the concrete. That's the 150 ton we're pushing rock into. It was a lovely country if you could forget to work. You may get tired of looking at this, but you should try to think how tired we got doing it. Here comes a load of rock that we had gotten on the side of the road that we were trying to build, a bypass road. It was cheaper than buying it. And we did have mounds of it that we could haul when we needed it. We did have to do most of our rock crushing during the time we didn't have snow and ice, because it's literally impossible to do it, not because a crusher wouldn't work, but because we would have killed men or broken their legs and slipped and fallen. It was a safety hazard. We could not do that during the actual snow periods. We're getting our building so we can have an orderly room. More piles of gravel down by. The Tyler Breslin Company out of Kentucky had this asphalt plant that they were furnishing all the asphalt for J.A. Jones Construction Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who had the contract to add a new 10,000-foot runway and build quite a few buildings. This was their area where we were occasionally able to get enough money to buy some of the stuff. Well, I made a horse trade with their equipment manager there. I had some equipment he didn't. He had some that I didn't. So we charged each other and rented from each other, but never passed a dime. However, we both kept records because we knew that sooner or later somebody would hang both of us, because you can't rent in the military. That would have been me get hung. And you can't use it from the civilian life. That would have been him getting hung. But poor old Jack, instead of getting hung, he got full. Not Jack, excuse me, that was King. See, it took a long time to do anything in Newfoundland. We're having to put a little bridge across here, covered across there. Forms we had to keep oiled in order for the cement not to stick to them when we took them off after the footings and walls had hardened.